and 43 studies. So 22 studies were the number of studies which morbidity reduction calculations could be made, the total number of studies. So 43 studies for quality and quantity, whereas here there's only 16 studies for quality and 15 studies for quantity. These are not the same studies. They're different contexts. They have different study parameters. That is why I think it's important to not really try and say, well, one is more, water quality and quantity is the lowest and hygiene is the highest, because these are all different studies in different places at different times. This is only to say that there are so many studies that do these different components, and they all found overall reductions. So again, these aren't the same. It's not that the combined water quality and quantity is all of the things together, but it's different studies showing different effects.
Okay, the question is to Jesus. Jesus, it's over to you from TACRO team. And this will be the last question before we are getting to closing stage.
Okay, thank you very much, Murat. Thank you very much, Matt, for the presentation. I think there is a bunch of information here that probably we need to process in order to use as an advocacy material, because here is like very, very scientific approach of what is the Washington School's impact. And actually, I think that we need to, at some point, to order this kind of information to produce a more digestible set of information for the policymakers and so on. But my question is regarding and a study that we are just starting here in Latin America and Caribbean with the Swash people in the region. I'm sure that you heard about this initiative here, because we are trying to develop a methodology to evaluate the impact of some interventions at the school level. But our initial assumption when we started this developing is that we have like several sets of interventions. One of them related to infrastructure, the other one related to hygiene promotion, and when you combine both of them, you can have, let's say, like a ladder. I mean, if you just do infrastructure, you can have some kind of impact. If you just do hygiene promotion or the software part of the intervention, you can achieve other kind of impacts. But if you join together, you can increase the impact, and actually this is like an exponential increase in the impact that you can have. And this is something that we really want to share with you. I mean, this is just the first part of the methodology development that we are now. Probably we can join you, and we can try to exchange some of your advices for improving this kind of initiative here. And there was a specific question. I mean, my last question in one of the next slides, when you differentiate between absenteeism and days of absenteeism. So what's the difference between both of them? Because you say that for the absenteeism, the results, yeah, exactly this. The results were almost the same, but for the days of the absenteeism, it was a huge difference. So what's the difference among both of them?
That's a very good question. I'll answer your second question first, and then try and get to the first piece that the first component that you were talking about. So first of all, absence is basically whether the children were absent it's a number of absences. So if a child is absent for 3 days in a row, that's one absence. But it counts as 3 days of absence. If a child is only absent for 1 day, that's 1 day of absence and one absence. So what you can see is that it's different measures. You can if a child is over 2 weeks, if a child is absent only once for 1 day, that's 1 day and one absence. But if a child is absent for one time for 3 days in a row, that's one absence and 3 days. So what you're finding here is that the expanded behavior, expanded hand washing, and the behavior change reduced. So the absence reduction was the same for both, the number of absences, but the days were higher, meaning that it could have been that children are less likely less likely to get seriously ill. So it could be serious illness that caused multiple days of absence. So it reduced the absence of the longer number of days in the expanded hand washing and behavior approaches. Did that answer your question?
Yes. It answered it very well. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And then talking about the first part of your question, you know, I think that it's very important to develop very good methodologies to assess some of these issues. I think what was originally the slide before that I showed, you're talking about combination of effects, and what was originally shown here, this is a lot of red. I'm going to get rid of this. Hold on. The take-home message from some of these studies is that multiple interventions here, this multiple intervention, it wasn't multiplicatively more than some of the other ones that were singular hygiene, sanitation, water supply, water quality. So, and we found that also, if you're talking about the hygiene promotion and hand washing, and then the hygiene promotion and hand washing plus sanitation, we didn't actually find that multiple interventions multiplicatively reduced infection. And that's probably because there's all of these transmission pathways for infection through feces. I think maybe some of you are familiar with the 5 F's: feces, flies, fomites, food, and fingers. There are 5 ways that you can get fecal infection from the feces to the mouth, and by cutting one of them, be it by safe disposal of feces, by hygiene and hand washing, or by improving water supply, you may cut some of the main, most serious transmission routes. And that's not to say that they shouldn't all be done in concert, because they should, but the evidence shows that it may not be. You may not see that impact, the multiplicative impact that you're talking about.
Okay, but what you mean is that in the case of this slide, they will separate interventions. I mean, one intervention only aimed to do hygiene, and one intervention only aimed to sanitation, or this is because we just analyze what happened with the sanitation, but in a broader intervention.
No, this slide is showing that these hygiene those are just hygiene interventions. The sanitation is just sanitation interventions. The water supply is just water supply, and water quality is just water quality. So these are specific studies that only address those specific components. Again, those are different contexts at different times, so you never know, because maybe they chose to do a sanitation intervention in a place where there was very low sanitation. They maybe chose to do a water supply improvement in where there was good sanitation but poor water supply. So you can't really, it's hard to compare. And I think it's what you're saying is worthwhile. It's very worthwhile to study the multiple arms of an intervention. But you just may be aware that you may not be able to see that multiplicative effect.
Okay, thank you. Probably we can continue this discussion in a separate.
Yes, I'd be happy to talk with you. I'd be happy to talk with you a little bit about it offline if that's useful.
Yeah, it will be very useful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. I would like to thank to Matt and everyone joining. Just a few notes from me before I hand over to Therese. I mean, as you know, first, welcome back to school again, and please use the course website as much as you can. So do not make too much absence from the attending to course website. We will be making an analysis of who attends the school and who doesn't attend the school. So I hope it will not be related to a wash-related disease that you don't stop by at the course website. The second thing is there were 198 applicants at this course. Only 53 are having the opportunity to take part at this first rollout. It's an opportunity for Emory University and for UNICEF as an organization to learn and to find a way to take this course to a second and third rollouts and to reach out to more colleagues and partners on the ground. And while it's an opportunity for individuals to learn, it's an opportunity for organizations to learn as well. So please feel free to provide advice and support to get this initial rollout to get a better shape and, to be more helpful for the future modules and as well as future rollouts. I'm passing the floor to Therese.
Okay, thanks, Murat. Hi, everyone. For me, just to say as well, Murat has said thanks to Matt, but I think, and I do want to thank Matt and his colleagues down in Emory, but a very big thank you to Murat and Rita, because I'm not sure if people understand the organizational nightmare of getting 53 people connected at 9 o'clock in the morning in New York. It's great. So a big thank you to them. It's kind of interesting being back at school. We all now have our homework to do, and I think please don't be afraid to log on to that website and the web page. Some people may or may not experience connectivity problems, so please, if you can't get onto the site, I know in some parts of Ethiopia, for example, you'll have to check bandwidth and stuff. So if you have any problems, let us know so that we can rectify it now rather than the next day of the session. So any problems in between times, keep the lines open either with Matt, with Murat, or with Rita, or even myself. And during the course, as you can see, there won't be time for huge number of questions on the day, and that's the purpose of the discussion board as well. So welcome back to school. We'll be taking a school break for Christmas, so don't worry. And I hope it goes well, and give us your feedback. And thanks very much to Matt again and to the team down in Emory. And I'm looking forward I'm enjoying the course. I'm happy to be back at school as well.
Thank you, Matt. The floor is over to you to close the session. And for all participants, the next modules will be shorter than 2 hours. And thank you for your patience and participation today. Matt, it's over to you.
Thanks again to Therese and Murat and Rita for setting up, and everyone for taking the time, whether in the afternoon, the morning, the middle of the night, to come and be a part of this course. Please give us about a day to finalize the website and get the discussion questions up. But then please, if you have any trouble, let me know, let Rita know, and we'll make sure. This is the first run, so there may be have some patience with us as we get some of the pieces in order. But we do really want your feedback. And again, I'm thrilled that there's so much experience and so many good questions already. So I look forward to working with you over the next couple of months. Thank you very much.
Thank you.